Welcome to Wesley Mission. I'm Keith Garner, and unusually I'm sharing with you not from a studio or a pulpit, but from our own back garden deck. You'll sense that as you share with us, I'm sure, today. The reason's obvious. It's because of the time and because of the particular challenges we face. And I'm focusing on that theme of the isolation of the cross. I'm concentrating on the final words of Jesus spoken from his experience of isolation. When I listen to his words, there are times when I feel that I'm almost intruding into some of the most intimate moments. So the sounds of the cross are very different than here. They're not the pleasant sound of birds and a lovely Australian scene. But the painful scene is of 3 heavy-laden crosses standing on Calvary's Hill. Jesus Christ, the Son of God, is jeered by the mob, and the soldiers are gambling for his clothes. And yet in this scene, we see the constancy of his mother. I wonder what was passing through her mind when she saw Jesus on the cross, and what was passing through his mind as he saw Mary standing nearby at Calvary. Mary is bound by a love which will not be defeated, and her courageous action is a consequence of that special relationship that exists between a son and his mother. Mary, the mother of Jesus, only appears twice in the Gospel of John. Firstly, at the outset at Cana in Galilee, and now in these unswerving moments of loyalty. The noise of the birds will not drown out the reality of this scene. So the cross is a very close disciple, often described as the disciple Jesus loved. And the word I share with you today is a word he speaks to both his mother and to his disciple. So I'm reading today from John chapter 19, verses 26 through to 27. We read there, "When Jesus saw his mother there, and the disciple whom he loved standing nearby, he said to her, 'Mother, here is your son.' And to the disciple, 'Here is your mother.' From that time on, this disciple took her into his home." There's a kindness here that connects with others. And I find that so profound, that in the midst of all the suffering of the cross, that we see the love and kindness of Jesus poured out in a way that affects human relationships. I don't believe that what Jesus is doing here is merely giving her a home. Here is somebody who's got no one now to share, but he is securing her a son. By consoling her grief in the possibility of a new relationship, Mary now has somebody that she can pour out her love toward. And to the disciple Jesus loved, there is somebody who can care for him. In our isolation, it's possible to become absorbed in our own problems, and we miss the opportunity to care for others. Even carers need to be cared for. Let's remember that. I often say to people in the midst of all the challenges of this week, be kind to yourself and be kind to those people who are offering out of their own lives kindness towards others. Not only do we see the humanity of Jesus, but we also see the deep love of God that's displayed in his concern for his mother and his very close disciple. It's a reaching out moment. A reaching out moment that's real. You know, Leslie Church told the story of how he was in the old city of Jerusalem in 1944. It's a critical time in the Second World War and in the story of Jerusalem. And he visited the Via Dolorosa, which of course is the Way of Sorrows. There was nobody there except a young child who you could see in the distance. He was of course unable to see whether this child was a Jew or an Arab. He later reflected he would have walked the way of tears again, just for that one little soul. As we continue our journey through Holy Week, in this most unusual setting of isolation, for many of us, we need to find the strength that will help us in our isolation. The focus of Jesus narrows, and the moment becomes very real, because it's an all-consuming moment. Jesus focuses on his mother and the disciple, not because they're all important to him, but because in the cross, all human affection takes on new meaning and creates new possibilities for us all. Let's together in these moments reflect upon the words of Jesus and what happened in those final moments as Jesus reached out to those who were so very special in his life. May you do the same to those that are special in your life. Let's pray together. Mother, there's your son. Son, there is your mother. Let's pray for family ties today. Pray for those who are bereaved. Pray for those who are mourning in deep ways around our world. And let's at this time give thanks for the power of God to create new relationships which will sustain us in all the difficult places of our pilgrimage. May we go the way of the cross and see it make such a difference to our lives. Amen.